You're listening to the We Are Libertarians podcast network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com.
Hello, my name is Marshall Fritz. I'm with the Advocates for Self-Government, a tax-exempt educational organization headquartered in Fresno, California. The purpose of the Advocates is to present the freedom philosophy honestly and persuasively so that opinion leaders can encounter these ideas, evaluate them, and when appropriate, embrace the ideals of self-government. To achieve this purpose, we teach communication and presentation skills to those people who are most deeply committed to the freedom philosophy, the Libertarians. The presentation you are about to hear is part of the Communicator Workshop presented to 51 Libertarians at the Advocates' 3rd Annual Summit Conference held in Los Angeles, November 13, 14, and 15, 1987. This workshop was designed and presented by David Berglund, Philip Mitchell, and Marshall Fritz. It is copyrighted. Should you wish to make copies as personal gifts for your friends, you hereby have the permission of the authors. For commercial use, please write to us at 5533 East Swift, Fresno, California, 93727. And now, let's go to the live recording at the beautiful Pacifica Hotel.
All right, now this session is called Mastering the Bite-Sized Method. And as the title suggests, this involves work. That's a good way to end the day. What we're going to do is take the most common question that libertarians get when they get into discussions, particularly if they put themselves in positions of being representatives of an organization like the Advocates or the Libertarian Party or some other libertarian movement group, and so they get into a position where people are going to ask them questions. What's the question that is most likely to come up? Anybody?
Just what is libertarianism?
Aha, good guess. Yeah, that's the most common question. As a matter of fact, it's a high probability to be the very first question that you get. Always keeping in mind that it's very likely that you will be the first libertarian that these people have ever seen or listened to. I mean, just stop and think about it. All those people out there who have yet to see their first libertarian performer or question answerer, candidate, or whatever. So what we want to do is take a look at that, of how are we going to go through this process of preparing a 30-second answer to that question. A warning. We've talked about the Ransberger pivot. Think in terms of the Ransberger pivot as a great hook, a great opening line, if it's in the form of a pivot, but it's only suitable for certain kinds of questions. Marshall used the term the hostile questions. I don't know whether I really agree with that characterization. I don't think it's limited that way. I like to think of it this way. The person asking a question for which a Ransberger pivot would be a suitable opening response is going to be from a questioner who believes, mistakenly, that the libertarian position is a threat to his or her values. Just visualize it this way. There's a person asking the question. You're going to ask me a question, all right? Ask me.
But what are libertarians?
No, that's not the one. No, so now we know. That's not a question that involves it's not one that indicates your values. Ask me about what about the poor?
How are you going to feed the poor?
All right, now here he is, he's asking that question, and here's how he sees me. There are poor people back there. I'm not going to let you at them. Now what happens? If I pivot and I say, I want all of the people who are poor or disabled to have the best opportunity to find work if they want it or to get help if they need it, what have I done? I've said, come along with me, we're going to the same place. Yeah. That's exactly what I've done. I'm not a threat to his values. I've surprised him by doing that. You have to identify, that's why you want to identify, what is it that the person really wants? A question like, well, what is libertarianism? Or who are the libertarians? Or what is the Libertarian Party? Or something posed in terms of, well, what is the libertarian position on education? Is likely not to indicate that this person perceives you as a threat to their values. So choose the Ransberger pivot and use it only when you perceive that either the person asking the question or the other people who are listening, who are also your audience, and maybe they're more of your audience than the guy who's actually asking the question, that they perceive you as a threat to their values. That's when the Ransberger pivot is suitable. Now, we're going to make it easy on ourselves and select a question to work with that isn't one that you typically would use a Ransberger pivot for. We're going to use, what is libertarianism? One of those just, give me the straight information. That's all I want to know is, get me started. I need to know something about this. And you are going to prepare your 30-second answer to that question. Now, in the booklet, back by the green card, there is a little yellow card. Yes? Small one that says bite-size answer. And this is what I want you to use to draft your 30-second answer to what is libertarianism. If you have some note paper or whatever and you want to scratch and use that, that's fine. But maybe do a little drafting and then reduce it to the size here that'll work for you. Now notice this gives you the handy hints on the form: hook, theme, body, close. All right? If you write real big, you don't use this, then use a note paper. All right? So we'll take a few minutes now for you to go ahead and go through that process. Now also in the book, if you're the kind that wants to use available research resources, on pages 30, 31, and 32 are three questions, or three answers to the question, what is libertarianism? One by me, one by Marshall, and one by Philip, from which you can take anything that you want to help you devise your answer. Right? Now I want you to remember what did we do? We had the planning phase. Remember the planning phase? Think about who your audience is, decide on what your objective is, come up with a theme, consider the data, the different things that you could say, and then go into the drafting phase. Hook, theme, body, close. Right? So you're over here now, making these decisions. I'm going to turn off the tape for a moment while you folks do your drafting. Hugh, you want to come up? All right.
Here we go. Hugh,
Hugh Butler.
Salt Lake City, Utah.
Hugh, I'd like you to just go ahead and give your answer to this very common question that hits libertarians. You've been a LP candidate before, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, you're drawing on some of your experience in that?
Well, it's improved every time.
All right. Let's see how well you did this time.
So, yes.
All right. What is libertarianism, Hugh?
Most of us are libertarians at home. Liberty and happiness are linked throughout history. No one fears self-government. It's force and fraud we despise. So why do we accept it from our elected leaders? Freedom is what we should demand from our government. That's why I'm a libertarian.
Okay. Now, tell us what your hook was.
The hook was your hook, phrased, most of us are libertarians at home.
Most of us are libertarians at home. All right, now let's see, where are the blues? How do the blues like that?
They're kind of scattered around a little bit.
Okay, you're scattered around now. All of you blues, speak up. You like that? Did it get your attention? Why did it get your attention?
The use of the word home and the idea that all of us. Did you also say libertarians at heart?
I should have, but ran out of
See,
time.
being a blue, I read that into it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I felt that too.
Okay, so the reason that it hooked you was because, not that it was a surprise or anything, it didn't startle you, it was like, this guy is one of my guys. It was a hook because you liked this guy because of what he said. Is that right?
Talked about things I was interested in.
He talked about things that you were interested in. All right. How about the Greens? Are there any Greens that?
He didn't answer the question. He said why he was libertarian. He didn't say for libertarian why.
What? Wait a minute. We're only talking about the hook. Tell me your hook again.
Most of us are libertarians at home. Is that false?
No. That's all the hook is. Most of us are libertarians at home. What is your reaction to that as a Green?
I'm not a libertarian or at work or at the grocery store.
Did it get your attention?
Mark said it got his attention.
All right. Now, how about Alexander? Is that right? No.
I really want to know what he meant when he said libertarians at home. It got my attention because it left a void to be filled.
Okay. That's the purpose of the hook. It isn't. The purpose of the hook is not to answer the question. It's to get you to say, "Tell me more." Now, we don't want him to offend you to get you mad with the hook. But if he gets your attention up, how about the oranges? When he said, "Most people are libertarians at home," as a hook.
Oranges are scattered out all over.
That's right. Pick an orange, George.
Well, it was okay. It didn't make me go, tell me more. You know, I was willing to listen as it went on, but it wasn't a real strong hook for me.
Okay. How about a brown? And any browns have a comment, Karen? Or
What hook? Is that what you're saying?
Karen's over here.
On his hook, if he would have replaced Libertarian with Democrat, I wouldn't have listened to him. It didn't, it didn't
Is it
catch
most people
me.
are Democrats at home? That wouldn't turn you on. Okay.
See, so it didn't.
Wouldn't turn me on
catch
either. There's a brown who wants to talk.
It got my attention because home is where my family is and it's secure and safe, and I wanted to go on and see what at home.
Okay. Not bad.
If he'd said most people are Democrats at home, I would have been really curious what he was going to say. I mean that in a serious way as well as the cynical way in which libertarians may regard Democrats.
Okay,
I
very
would have
good.
wanted to know, hey, what does he mean by that?
Very
and
good
is there
point
some
here.
truth to it?
Very good point. One of the ways to make a good hook is to create ambiguity. If somebody says, most people are libertarians at home, when we're saying, what is libertarianism? It's like, we don't really know, and the hook almost assumes that we do know, doesn't it? And that creates an ambiguity, and that makes your subconscious say, wait a minute, clear up this ambiguity.
My response to it is somewhat cynical. It's, you're going to tell me how I am at home? Libertarians are bad housekeepers?
But you are a special case. Okay. Let's go on to your theme.
The theme, I said, liberty and happiness are linked throughout history.
Liberty and happiness are linked throughout history. All right? I'll go back to your gang, the blues. Any blues there have a reaction to that?
We got excellent, nodding the head, yeah. Dorothy's asleep.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
I have found it troubling that there was no link between the hook and the theme. I mean, I just thought, wow, another subject. Where's this man's mind going?
Okay, and you are green, right? Okay.
Did you have to ask?
I couldn't see. I'm just making, a swag. Okay. How about an orange? Give us the theme again to the oranges.
Liberty and happiness are linked throughout history.
Oranges, have any reaction to that?
Get no argument for me.
You just kind of liked it? Didn't make you mad?
Rings true, but it says what I want to hear.
Says what I want to hear.
Okay, that's good. So, I guess happiness is good stuff, right? I'm agreeing, but it sort of struck me as a comment that made me want to hear more. I'm agreeing, so I'm a seeker of knowledge, and he's telling me that what did you say, freedom and happiness?
Liberty and happiness are linked.
Liberty and happiness are linked, and I'm saying, hey, that sounds like an interesting proposition. What evidence does he have to back that up? I want to hear it.
It's almost another hook.
That's what I was saying, almost another hook. Okay, how about the Browns? Any Browns have a comment about that theme? How does it make you feel? How do you react to it? No reaction from a Brown?
Do you feel happy at all?
Okay.
She feels it's untrue.
Misery and liberty are linked throughout history.
Now, that would not be an untypical Brown attitude. The Browns are basically pessimists, more so than optimists. And so.
All right, I'll quit. I'm going to be a Republican. I'm in the wrong place if that's
all right. Now let's go to your body. Well, I don't know. Needs a lot of work.
No one fears self-government. It's force and fraud we despise. So why do we accept it from our elected leaders?
Okay. Blues, what do you think? Reaction from the blues? Any blue?
In this case, he's not giving a body that answers the real question.
I don't believe the question is being answered. He's making a statement about our political leaders now.
All right. Anybody else have any other blues? So you don't find that quite satisfactory as a blue. Read it again. I want to hear it.
No one fears self-government. It's force and fraud we despise. So why do we accept it from our elected leaders?
All right. Okay. How about the Greens? Doesn't answer the question. Now, Greens are. You say it doesn't answer the question. Doesn't say what libertarianism is. Now, Greens are cross-examiners, and we, especially as Greens, we are very precise about language and demanding about it. If a question is asked, damn it, answer that question. Exactly the way it was asked. We're like the lawyers who say, objection, Your Honor, not responsive. Greens are like that. Okay? Any other Green have a comment?
Yeah. I didn't think that, I thought all three statements, the hook, the theme, and the body were all good, and I agreed with them, but I didn't think they flowed together.
Okay. You like a nice logical progression.
Yes.
Naturally. Don't we all?
The comment I had is almost everybody responded favorably when he read it through as a whole package and bought it. As we've gone back now and begun to analyze it, it's beginning to fall apart. But the real important thing was not the analyzation of it, but the fact that initially it worked. For a 30-second response, it worked for almost everybody in here.
Yeah, you liked it, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. The point of the analysis here is to get an idea of not particularly changing this one, but get us thinking about making up the 30-second response and keeping in mind the 30-second response is a 30-second response.
Okay, let's see. Let me get a reaction from, no, don't go away. An orange to the body. Yeah.
I thought the body would have made an excellent hook.
It was in the form of a question, wasn't it? It's the kind of thing that...
But I think part of that is not true. Nobody fears self-government. There are lots of people who fear self-government.
The green there.
It might even be a term, we've given them another term, like, what's a libertarian? Because they don't really know what it is. They may have seen the word in the newspaper, but they don't really know, and then you pop out self-government at them, which is not a real street word. You know, there's not a lot of people out there just saying, oh yeah, and by the way, self-government is really a neat thing. They've never been accustomed to that word either.
Right, and that's certainly a good point. If we're going to communicate, we have to use the words that people know and are familiar with. Okay, how about a brown? Any? Yes, here we are, Susan.
A comment on this one?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was...
No, you didn't want to make a comment. All right, let's go to your close. Punch it home.
Freedom is what we should demand from our government. That's why I'm a libertarian.
All right.
What? Oh, the oranges are all going, yeah! Go for it!
Orange, brother! Okay, and that's a very active go after it. Right? So all the oranges say, yeah, let's go get some of that. Just like he said we should. How about the blues? What do you think about that? Any blues have a comment about that close?
Neat rounding off, she says.
Neat rounding off. It really, as a drafting process, it was clear. I'm wrapping this up and I'm finished now, and you better believe it. That's good. How about the greens? Any nitpicking over here? What?
I want to hear the close again.
Yeah, go ahead one more time.
Freedom is what we should demand from our government. That's why I'm a libertarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting some nods in agreement over
here. Sure. Oranges. How about the browns? And they're nodding too. That's great, Hugh. Thank you.
There we go. Thank you.
Now, if you, thinking back to that again, would you have made a guess that he was a blue from the language that he used? You don't think he's a blue? Tell him, Hugh.
I'm a greenish blue. I thought about it and I like feeling.
He thinks about it and he likes feelings.
He's a blue. Okay. Let me get, how about another volunteer? Some color other than blue. Okay, let's, June. Read the whole thing.
You can ask me the question.
I thought you already knew.
Ask me the question. You're going to ruin the staging.
Okay. June, you've just come in from Mars, from that great libertarian stronghold, but most of the people in our community are not very familiar with libertarians. Would you tell us what is libertarianism?
Well, Dave, if we were playing Jeopardy, I'd say it was the correct response to the American Revolution. I mean, libertarianism is what the American Revolution was about. Libertarian values are really values that this country was built on. It's the belief that being free and independent is the best way to achieve a society of abundance and harmony, a society where each of us is free to reach for and achieve our highest potential. It's the idea that we have a right to choose what is best for each of us, knowing that we will also have to accept the responsibility for our actions. So, really, libertarianism is the heritage of our nation's founders, revitalized to build the kind of future that we all want to share.
Okay. Come back. June. We're not finished. Okay. Now, what was typically green about that? It was a little more than 30 seconds.
It was a little more than 30 seconds.
Oh, yes.
I didn't watch the time go.
No, it's considerably more than 30 seconds, but that's normal for a green. There's no way for us greens to do it first crack out of the barrel in 30 seconds. You can't. There's too much good stuff to tell people. And we know it. You know, one thing about greens, they're a real pain in the ass because they know it all. But you can't get along without them because they really do know it all. All right.
And applause from the green gallery.
Okay. Give us your hook.
Well, Dave, if this were Jeopardy, I'd say that it was the correct answer to the American Revolution.
Carrie? Oh, okay. Now, is that, you greens, you think that's a good hook? That's cute. All right.
That's cute, was the response.
That was cute. Did it get your attention? Okay, got your attention. How about blues? Did it get your attention? Huh? Did it get your attention? Did it make you want to hear more?
Blues are nodding their heads.
What?
Not real enthusiastically, but okay.
Why did you feel that it made you want to hear more? Any blues? You're not quite sure?
Well, it left a void. You know, why would that? It left a void wanting to know more. Why is there the connection between the American Revolution and libertarianism?
Okay.
And what's all this got to do with Jeopardy?
And
I wanted an explanation. Wow, what's this connected together, you know?
okay, was this connected together? So it seems to grab your attention because you're saying, oh, wait a minute, you just confused me. Clear things up for me. All right. Was there something, I thought she did a kind of a nice thing. She got real friendly with me. Didn't she make it like a nice conversational person? I thought that was a neat little touch. Yeah. Okay, how about the oranges? Your reaction to that hook?
It was a game. You're supposed to like the game.
American Revolution.
We're getting some pretty positive nods and some kind of nods and some
I'm an orange, and I like short, curt answers. That's just the way I think.
So by the time she got through with that first sentence, you were sort of looking for something else to do. Okay, that's a problem when you're dealing with oranges. Yeah.
It's true. I agree. I felt the same way. When she started out, it was a little long. But as soon as she said, it's the correct answer for, and she even changed her tone pitch, which you did that real well. She said it was the correct answer for the American Revolution. And you brought me in. I mean, I was hooked now. Okay, let's go find out what the rest of those things are. I liked it.
Okay. How about your browns? How about them browns?
If a person wasn't familiar with the particular game show, it would distract them. If they didn't know what you were talking about, it would put you completely off.
What Jeopardy was.
Okay, and that's a very good comment. And here's where we begin to see, or here's an example of the difference between the intuitives, that is the oranges, or the blues and the greens, and the sensories.
This is the end of side 1. Please turn the tape over to continue with side 2. You do not need to fast forward this tape to the end of this side.